Expanse Season 2. I have finally watched and reviewed it. I've watched the entire season twice. Oh my gosh. Okay. Is it worth watching? What's good? What's bad? About all these things today in the review of The Expanse Season 2. Okay, so The Expanse Season 2. My big beef with Expanse Season 1 was that it didn't finish the first book. And that it finished like 80% or 75% of the book. So the second season finished the book and then finished the second book. I like this and I don't like this at the same time. So again, all your characters are back. Your Jim, your Naomi, everybody's back, plus more. I wrote episode by episode, kind of compare and contrast, talking about all the different things in all the different episodes. I'm not going to go over that. It's just too long. I would have to do one video per episode. So I'm just going to talk about the whole thing. And when you get to the end of season 2, you feel like you've watched, in my opinion, 1.5 seasons, because that's what you just did. About episode 7, I believe it is, they have the 7th men, and that's where it really starts. And that's what I really wanted to see, Caliban's War. I was already kind of finished with the first book. So they introduce the character, which is my favorite character in the entire book series, Bobby Draper, very early on, which was cool. I was like, hey, there's Bobby doing Marine stuff. Awesome. And they brought her in and they really pushed her characterization, which I think was very pinnacle in this season. That's really what they were doing, was just heavy characterization. With Bobby and Naomi and even the pilot Alex. And even Amos. They even talk about Amos' backstory, which was... Anyway, we're going to get there. So, backstory and characterization is what this season is about. The entire Caliban's War thing, the entire... the young children being turned into soldiers and all that, really takes a backseat to the exposition. It really does. When Nami, I'm just getting ahead of myself, I don't care. When Nami drops the bomb that she had a child in the past, a boy, that she gave up, that information isn't revealed until book 6. So they're doing that in book 2 or season 2, and that doesn't even happen until book 6. Amos's backstory about all his time on Earth and the bad people that's then revealed about what the chicken guy...
Other people. You got chicken? That's what I like.
That guy's great. Character is awesome, even if he's only there for 5 seconds. Amos's backstory about bad people and some people need to be punished.
Some people deserve to be punished.
The entire motivation between all the characters is very succinct, and they really push this tension, and I think that's what they're doing really well in the series that they don't do so much in the book, because the book is more like plot driven, and I think they're making the show more character driven, so you care more when something happens to them. They did this at the end of the season with Caliban's War, when they find the chamber that they've been experimenting on the children, and then Naomi and Jim go their separate ways. Now, we know she has a son. We know Amos has this backstory. We know Alex has a wife back on Mars. We know all these things, and soon they're going to be driving forces for the characters to do things they wouldn't do in season 1. By making the characters more important than the events or the plot points of the story, it makes the story less interesting. First meet the proto-human, I'm going to call them that. Then later, when Jim is chasing it to the destroyed Ganymede station, we don't know if that's the same one or different, and it doesn't. We think it's a different one, but we don't know. In the book, it's pretty clear that there are a few, and this makes it even scarier, because if there's like 1, 2, 3, maybe there's 4, 5, 6, so we don't know, and that makes it even more heart-pounding. Caliban's War. So they should put a huge emphasis on this season to politics. I think this is kind of going for the Game of Thrones audience that like that political intrigue where we have Aaron Wright battling with the Mars Minister of War.
Give a monkey a stick. Inevitably, he'll beat another monkey to death with it.
That's also not in the book at all. But again, just heighten. They're always trying to tweak that tension between what's going to happen. I like it in shows such as Game of Thrones when they do stuff that's not in the book. It just gives them more information. I like that. That's what the TV version is for, in my opinion, to do stuff that wasn't in the original text. So more politics with Mars, with the Belt, and with Earth, and the introduction of new Belters. They talk about we now have these missiles, what are we going to do?
No, we divide them amongst the factions. They each decide for themselves.
We have their missiles, and that is our ticket to the table. But we must come together first. A unified...
He's also crazy as well. On an earlier episode, he just throws someone out an airlock after beating the living crud out of them, which is, again, like if you're going to lead basically a pirate band of space people, you gotta be the most crazy. The whole character of Pax and his child, Mia, totally takes a backseat in this season. In the book, it is super important. It is the driving force of all the action is finding this child. What's happened to this child? And even though those words are said in the show, they have no gravity. They have no force. He's just kind of screaming in this cacophony of a stadium of other people screaming for their desires. And so it doesn't feel the same. It doesn't feel that Jim Holton is being benevolent and caring and, yeah, we want to do this for your kid. We're also going to get what we want to get, but we want to help you because, that's important. He really takes this weird arc of becoming single-minded and then comes back to that altruistic personhood. This is a theme that ripples throughout this season as well. You have it with Nami when she's a Ganymede, with Amos, and they're on the ship and they're trying to help people get on the ship. But Ganymede is collapsing. It's a really cool part too. And they have to give some amount of people into the ship, get them into the ship. And she says, we should do this. This is the right thing to do. If we can save 52, we save 52. If we can save 100, we save 100. We should do as much as we can to save other people. Again, that altruistic, which comes up earlier when the Belters are having the conversation about sharing. A really good quote, they say,
Earthers cannot look upon a thing but wonder who it belongs to. We say the more you share, the more your bowl will be plentiful.
And that Belters see things as more communal, communist, maybe in a slight fashion, but again, if you're living in space, you gotta help people out because you're gonna need help. Because it's space and you're gonna die. Things that I really did not like, again, it did not really finish the book in every way, shape, or form it could. It always leaves stuff out on purpose. It always leaves certain questions that we're going to get to later. The idea that they find more children and more information is revealed about the proto-humans and all this. And then at the end, the last scene of the show, they show you with this huge amount of people that are now in cryogenic state, and they will be worked on, and they're going to be like an army. You don't really get that in the book. You get that, for some reason, that Maya is special, and that this genetic disease, whatever she has, makes her a viable candidate, and there's not a lot of people like that. You get that feeling. It's never really stated clearly, but you get that feeling. And in this, they say, oh no, there's tons of people, and we can just turn this army on with the push of an injector. Who is this episode, season, show for? Like I said, this show is becoming more and more dynamic and more complex with each layer, each bit of character and each bit of physicality location that they add. They're still going for the trifecta, really pushing for this, 3 different areas of influence. And that's good. That's exactly what the book has going for it. This is going to get really dense really quickly. In the next season, it's going to become mandatory for you to have seen season 1 and 2. Season 2 almost demands that you have seen season 1 because it's not an open and closed season. Moving forward, you're going to have to watch season 1, season 2 because it's just going to be too confusing. Season 1 is very light. Season 2 is a little disjointed but gets a little heavier. It's a big introduction. I feel like that this is just ramping up for season 3.
No one knows what the protomolecule wants or what it's doing, but they are using it anyway. It's already scattered too far to ever be sure it'll all be gone. It's part of the equation now.
So, again, there's a big cliffhanger, but not as good as a cliffhanger as season 1. I liked it. I watched it pretty quickly. I was not super impressed or super wowed. The things I liked the most were the foreshadowing, were the bits of information that came earlier in the chronology than it did in the book. That was pretty much it. I really was not impressed. It was a good show. It followed the storyline. Certain things were emphasized more in this version than in the book version, and it was okay. I think that some people that were really excited during season 1 are less excited now that season 2 has ended. And I know that season 3 is already signed, so hopefully they can pick up that inertia again and really crank it up. Because I think if they don't have a really strong season 3, there will be no season 4. I think it's slowed down almost too much. We'll see. We'll see. I don't know. I haven't seen reviews. I haven't read other things about it. I wanted to go on this kind of blind, just give you my own reaction to the season. I'm looking forward to it. I hope they keep the 13 episodes, per season. I think that is long enough to tell a diverse, dynamic, interesting storyline. I would be okay with even 14 episodes. I know some people like 10, like they do in England, or 12. They don't like the 24 or 26 that they do in America sometimes. So I'm hoping that season 3 is a complete story, a beginning, a middle, and end, and not this like break in the middle. I hope that it really moves along because the 3rd book is really interesting because we get the gate. And the gate really brings you forward for the next few books, which is what this is really going for. So anyway, that is season 2 of The Expanse. I enjoyed it, but not as much as I would like. I give it like 1.5 thumbs up. I would love to hear what you guys have to think about The Expanse if you watched it. That is my thoughts. Expanse Season 2 on Sci-Fi.